Michael Carnevale is branch manager and financial advisor. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, 400 Southbridge Street in Auburn, Massachusetts. 1-800-657-9126. A member of FINRA SIPC and are not deposits, not insured by FDIC or any governmental agency, not guaranteed by Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank, and subject to risk, may lose value. Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank is not affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated. The information contained in this report does not purport to be a complete description of the securities markets or developments referred to in the material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Any information is not a complete summary or statement of all available data necessary for making an investment decision and does not constitute a recommendation. Any opinions are those of Michael Carnevale and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without notice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Richard Morco. Long report, conversations with Mike Carnevale, and we're privileged to have him to speak about where the economy is going. A few introductory notes. I'm thinking we should have a Friedlander Maxwell committee, because if there were no crimes committed, why is she in jail?
Yeah.
That's first of all. Second of all, I am now referring to this as the Biden-Trump administration. And if you don't, if you have a problem with that, write your letters to Mike. But I think we heard, I'll ask Mike to speak to this, we heard that there were differences of opinion at the Fed's meeting, and you might want to talk to what had happened.
Yeah. Well, the end result was they unanimously voted to do nothing, to make no changes to the Fed funds interest rates. But there are some who say now's the time to begin reducing them, and there are some that say now is not the time. But we'll know believe at the end of this month what they decide to do.
Nobody's saying it's the time to raise them, though.
No.
Whew. Anyway, no. I don't know. Really, all I know is, from a disgruntled consumer point of view, I wanted to see the rates go way down, because I'm looking to buy a new car.
Okay. Yep.
And if anything you can do to move that along would be.
Well, there are some, I've seen some ads that are offering 1.99, but it's.
I want to see those ads.
You gotta. I think it's.
400 years.
No, it's some type of a Toyota truck, I think.
Okay.
But
if it's a $50,000 truck, 1.99 ain't tracking me.
that's what I think it probably is. It's not what most people would be looking for.
No. Anything else big in the economy you want to?
It's still, things are still centered around tariffs. Are they going to be? Are they not going to be? Are they going to be high? Are they going to be low? Are they going to long term, short term? It's still going back and forth, and every time you get news that they're going to be reduced or the starting time is going to be extended, the market really goes up. And then most recently, I think it was within the last week or so, when I think it was the day that the letters started going out to these various countries, the market dropped 400, I think it was 440 points. So it's obvious, I think, that the stock market, whatever that is, doesn't like the tariffs. Because when they back away from them, then the market starts to go back up again. So, I mean, I don't know how many letters have gone out, but we'll see if it does anything, if it
for the market.
For the market.
The operative word is always up.
Right.
And anything that might drag it down is looked askance at.
Right.
What do you think it is? The tariff itself, the idea is, okay, we're going to bring back jobs. You're not going to bring them back in an hour and a half.
Right.
But what do you think the market is saying? We don't believe it at all, or we don't want to wait for it. What do you think the market's saying?
I think they're afraid that it's really a tax, that it will raise prices, which will raise inflation again, and you'll be back to that whole.
As I always say, a price rise is not inflation.
Right. It will increase the pace of the rise.
Well, because the reason I would say that is it's not inflation is because if you do the opposite, prices will go down.
Right.
So that in and itself is not either in and of itself inflationary, deflationary.
Is good.
Well, who doesn't want to see life on a steady keel?
Right. 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 And I think that's the fear that it will.
The type of person who wants to see turmoil will go out and hire a jackhammer and just crash through all the sidewalks.
I understand there are people like that.
Do you know any?
Unfortunately, I do know some people. I wouldn't want to mention any names because I wouldn't want to incriminate anybody. But there are crazy people out there who do crazy things.
We got to get those people.
We'll see if they're closer than you think. I mean, they're all around you. It's just that.
I would say it's not around me as much across from me.
They're seated everywhere, and you just got to be on the lookout for them. Sometimes they surprise you, but they're out there, and
I don't want to believe that.
Oh no, believe me, they are, and I can tell you that there's something wrong with those people, but
I knew that.
It'll be very difficult, I think, to pinpoint what the problem is, because that just doesn't happen. Like that behavior just doesn't happen on a Tuesday. That's been going on for years, decades. So you got to learn to be able to, live with those type of.
And do you feel you've attained that equilibrium?
I think to a certain extent, you try to survive in that environment. Sometimes it's not easy, but like everything else,
You're so brave.
It passes in.
We admire this more than you know.
I'm glad somebody does, because not many do.
All right. Let's see what's happening. 9th of the 12 months for performance, and but past 2 years have been up.
Past 2 years have been up.
They've been bucking the trend.
Yep. And the last negative odd year was back in 2015.
So 225, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was negative.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been negative since?
Every odd
year. So
year.
how does it maintain the 9th rank?
Well, every odd year.
Yeah.
So 2025, we're in an odd year. So odds would say pretty good, and the streak continued, right? It's up now 3 Junes in a row, and that streak of positive odd years continues. And it was a big movement up, over 4%, 1,800 points, but all of it came within the last 10 days of the month of June. From the beginning of June to about the 20th of June, the market was actually down, and then it all reversed up. It had something to do maybe with the back talk on the tariffs, and we closed there. That closed over 44,000.
Yep.
So the all-time high is 45,100. We're at 44,000 today. Who would have thought from the election day to today?
Not you.
No.
You wouldn't have thought.
Nope.
You were
It's
TDS, Trump deranged syndrome, and then you became Trump is a god.
Well, not that far, but it's amazing, really. And the year's up. The year is up almost 4%. I don't think anybody would have predicted that.
Okay, I usually scream this, so you can say, Richard, you're nuts again. I mean, how much of that is just a reaction to inflationary, not price level, but
Right. Well, historically, about half the gain of the stock market is inflation. Market usually gains longer term 8-9%. Historically, inflation is around 4%. So about half of the gain is inflation.
And so being up 4%, you'll say 2% was
Right. And we'll look at where inflation has been over the past 52 weeks. We'll see in a second, but it's 2.4%. So it's, within the historical norm. So nothing earth-shattering, I don't think.
All right. Okay. Bonds?
Even though the Fed didn't cut rates, interest rates have been going down. The 30-year
Yeah.
went down. The 13-week Treasury, the short ones went down.
Do you think that's anticipatory?
I think so. Yeah, I think you look at the Fed funds futures market, and it's forecasting a chance of a rate cut in September, and then again another one in December. So I think the odds are favoring lower interest rates.
Do you think, I'm just going to throw this out, and I have no idea, and probably a few people might be following this, the consternation between Trump and Powell. Do you think that has anything to do with these changes?
I don't think so.
Okay. I was just throwing it out.
I mean, it's really been one-sided. Trump has done most of the talking. Powell really hasn't said anything. He did say something when he was over in, I think it was in Spain, that, well, if it wasn't for these tariffs, we probably would have reduced interest rates already. But I don't think it has, I think today, the former Vice President Pence was on Bloomberg, and he said, I tend to agree with Trump. The president should have a say in interest rate policy and whatnot. And the market was up
Pence said
today.
that?
Yes.
I didn't hear about that.
Today,
Pence,
yeah, he was on Bloomberg.
Pence is cute. Boy, is that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the under guy for the first 4 years.
Yeah.
Then he broke with them. I mean, he didn't. He had to certify that election, but he broke with Trump and dissed him. Boy, everybody disses and breaks with Trump, like Pompeo and what's that goofy-looking fellow with the mustache? Bolton. And then they try to, he's not a bad guy, but
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what a country!
Yeah. And it had no effect on the stock market. At least it was up 200-300 points around midday. So I don't think it has a lot to.
Yeah, Trump disses everybody.
Yeah.
I just let it roll off my back.
Yeah, I think it was scary in the beginning, but the more you see it, the more you discount.
See, the thing is, I've been through a lot more administrations than you, so I've seen the aberrations. I guess, yeah. And you're getting with it. Good. I'm glad you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can hold your own.
Okay. I think
you
it's.
think this is fun?
No.
No,
No. But you've seen it once. Now you're seeing the same thing over
Yeah.
and over. It's shocking initially, and it's somewhat entertaining, and then you just ignore it.
Yeah, everything eventually reduces to its absurd. You can write that down, people. All right, the technicals. Did we get out through everything?
We did, yeah. I mean, well, the most important thing is July is usually a good month. And it's hard to believe, but the last 10 Julys have been positive. Think about that. The last 10 years, every July has been up. Not only that, 12 of the last 14 have been up.
Do you think everybody's at the beach and they just forget to say sell, call the broker and
I
say
don't
sell.
know. You know, there probably is no reason why other than it's a coincidence.
Of course, you know nobody calls the broker anymore.
No, they do not. Only when things are going down.
Wait.
When things are going up, you don't hear from anybody. But before you get overly giddy about how great things are, we're in the middle of this May to October, sell in May, come back Halloween Day, negative period. July is the only month during that period, May to October, that historically is positive. So
Well, I am so glad you told me not to get giddy. Because I was just about to,
you'll probably, my guess is you're going to see an all-time high on the Dow sometime this month. You're only 1,500
I
points
am
away.
not going to look at it at all. I'm so afraid of becoming giddy. I will not look at the Dow.
And that'll probably be a top for a while, at least until the fall. At least based on historical stuff, which is as good as any other stuff.
Everything's
Right.
Everything has its place.
Correct.
As Mom used to say, a place for everything and everything
In
in
its place. That's right.
In July, up.
Yes.
Okay. Technicals.
Well, the rally, the big rally that we had, has again continued to weaken sentiment and actually changed sentiment to a little more negative. That was mainly due to the one you like, the stochastic oscillator. That's probably
I actually got one.
Did you?
I did get one implanted.
Okay.
And there's a bit of it here. I'm supposed to sleep better.
Okay. We'll
A stochastic oscillator. Well, you said.
stochastic oscillator. Yeah. You got to be in the industry to be able to
Well,
pronounce
yeah,
it.
it's not. His years taking Latin, it's paid off finally.
Right. But of the four, I think that's the most important one, because that's showing you the short-term high point for the market and the short-term low point for the market, and so it's a short-term indicator as to where things might be going. Some of those other ones, the New York 200-day moving average, by nature it's long-term because it's 200 days. It takes into account 200 days. The oscillator is very short-term, and the worst reading possible is 100. Last month we were at 70. Today we're at 90. Historically, anything over 80 would signal that the market is potentially overbought, meaning has gone up quite a bit in a short period of time. So that's the one that really turned negative in the month of June. And like I said, at 90, that's, doesn't get much worse than that. So that's why I think maybe things top out in July. That might get to 95 or so, and then you might start to see a drop off.
Okay. All right. So we looked at the stochastic, fear and greed.
Yep, same thing.
But not as long, a shorter term.
Not as short a term, no. The really short-term one is the oscillator. Then, of course, the Fed met, and they didn't do anything. Said the same thing. They're still concerned about the effects of the tariff. They still see, and they updated their forecast for the next 6 months, and they see inflation rising to 3%. It's around in the low 2s right now. And they see growth falling to around a little under 1.5%.
If they're seeing inflation go to 3, why would they be thinking of a cut?
Right.
Why?
It wouldn't make sense.
Well, that's right. Yeah, well, I know that, but why are they thinking of that?
We don't know until they actually say something.
They won't give a rationale.
No.
Some of the people, the heavy hitters in finance on the TV saying, well, this is what they're thinking, or it's a mystery. They've locked these guys up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all tied to the tariffs, and the reason inflation right now is at about 2.5%, and they see it going to 3 as they think that at some point these tariffs will have an effect. But we'll see later that they have had no effect yet on unemployment, no effect on layoffs, no effect on weaker job creation, but not dramatically weak. So they have not really had a big effect, other than we keep hearing the billions and billions that we're collecting.
Are we really
Who knows?
collecting?
I don't believe we are, but that's,
All right.
We will
Geez,
see.
What the heck? Powell's, goal is to keep inflation in check.
Yeah. I mean, he had to go before the House and the Senate. He goes before twice a year because back in '78, when we had the bad financial, 73, 74, right? Congress made the Fed now have to come to Congress twice a year and say, hey, what are you doing? And they tried to get him to...
Does that really make a difference?
No.
I didn't think so.
But they tried to get him to, a sound bite, right? And all as he said was, the goal is to keep people working and inflation low. And he really didn't stray much from that.
Okay, all right. Let's see who's doing what in the greater world.
A lot of cuts in interest
I'm looking
rates.
for Turkey here.
No.
No Turkey.
No
Turkey
Turkey.
was the champion. Turkey's out of the league.
Yeah, no Turkey.
All right, cuts by the European Central Bank,
Yep.
India, Russia, Switzerland at 0.
And now it's 0, yeah.
No change from Canada, Bank of England.
Nothing.
World Bank, that's cut a projection or the
Right,
0.4% for growth.
right. They were at 2.7 for world growth, and they cut it to 2.3%. And again, the same thing. They say tariffs will affect everybody.
They don't know.
No,
Nobody knows.
no. But higher prices are not good in general. So you would think it would have some negative effect.
I got to ask you a question as kind of an illiterate person. Higher prices are good for somebody. I mean, say like your company, all of a sudden, your workers, your company, they were making okay money, but then the world demanded your product. You doubled the price.
Yeah, they'd make some short-term
And
money.
then the owners are happy, the workers get more money, get more hours.
Yeah.
So we got to have the context on which high prices are not good.
Longer-term high prices are not good. Short-term, they can be good.
That 5 cents I spent for M&Ms in 1956, when I was a boy,
Yeah,
it's now, what, probably $1 or $2 there?
yeah.
And I certainly don't think that was good, but economically, is that bad or just neutral?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to figure out what the rate of increase was and compare it to, like, the rate of inflation or whatnot. Like, if you look at education, right, that's gone up much faster than inflation. So that rise in prices has not been beneficial.
It's been beneficial to Professor Smith, who gets to have another martini at the faculty club.
Yeah, but I mean, for,
Somebody wins, somebody loses,
oh, yeah,
everything.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, for the general public, it's not.
Well, then we don't have time to do this. I'm not going to beat you up on it. I'll beat you up over something else. But it goes on forever. Why isn't it going to? I mean, it continues to go on. When does it go on to ruin? Because higher prices, you say, aren't beneficial,
Right.
but they're eternal.
Right. It goes on when people won't pay them. It goes on when...
That's when it stops going on, when they won't pay them.
Right. Or when, it's like the deficit. When no one will buy the bonds, that's when it all ends.
Well, the bond's reflected in the interest rate, so I mean, there's usually an interest rate that everybody will buy the bond at,
Right,
no matter what.
right.
I want to see that. Again, the pacemaker will go when I see that day.
Yeah, I think it's a long way away. You know,
So we keep just going on having these negative little things happening until something or other.
until something comes out of the blue, like the financial crisis in '08 or '09, or the pandemic, all the stuff that come out of the blue that you can't forecast.
Do you think we can take, 08 was what, 8 years ago?
Oh, in '08?
2008?
Yeah, that was 17 years ago.
Okay, yeah. Every 16 years have something like that happen, or 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, it usually happens every 20, 25 years, right? You had the 73, 74 with the oil situation.
Yeah.
Then you had the crash of '87.
Yeah.
That was from 73 to '87, 15 years. Then you had the financial crisis in '08, '09. That was from '87 to '09, was that 19 years. Then you had the pandemic in 2020.
But the pandemic, it was not like any of those.
No, but I mean, it dropped the market. It's really that.
Oh, yeah.
08, '09 to 20, that was another 20 or so years. So yeah, every 20 plus years, something like that.
Can we stand it?
Happens.
We have so far, but
We have so far.
do you think they're getting worse as shocks to the system?
Well, I think 73, 74 was bad. The financial crisis was very bad.
Yes, it was.
The pandemic was not as bad or as long, at least for the stock market. So to say they're getting worse, no. But
But
that doesn't mean the
I
next
think
one
you-
can't be.
I don't think you can put COVID in with the others.
Well, I mean,
It was
the
a shock and a hurt, but
The effect on the market.
Okay.
I'm more
wasn't
talking.
even, but it wasn't even close.
No, it wasn't. The stock market,
Is the-
I think effect lasted, what, 2 months or so?
Yeah.
So, but you know, there could be something that comes out of the blue that
I don't
a
want to see it.
miscalculation. You know, I don't think you can plan for it, though, you know what I
No.
mean? Because I think if you do, then you miss all the,
Fun.
yeah, you miss all the, you know, if you just look at the returns, if you know, in '08 and '09, you didn't do anything. You said, I'm out and I'll never get back in again. The Dow went, we've talked about it, right? The Dow went from 6,500 to 45,000. You'd have missed all of that.
Well, I told you about that guy who said, I asked if he's going to go back into business. Yeah, we're coming up. They're talking about a 3,000 Dow.
Right, right.
I still think about that whenever I
Yeah.
look at 44,000.
Yeah, yeah,
Nuts. Crazy.
yeah, it is.
All right, so inflation, we've covered that basically.
Yep.
Leading economic indicators.
They were negative again. They're actually getting worse if you take, I mean, May was better than April. But if you look at like the last 6 months versus the prior 6 months, much worse. And surprise, surprise, of the 10 components in May, the best of them was the stock market. But it only makes up 4% of the index. The big items, which are consumer expectations and the job market and new purchases, those are the ones that make up a bigger percentage of the index. Those were basically negative. And we now had 5 months in a row where the index has been down. You know,
So
that increases the odds of a
are
recession.
we're falling off the cliff.
It is getting worse.
This is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, it is getting worse
Well, I'm ready for it.
on the indicators. But again, that's one index of many.
Jobless.
You know, still below 250,000, and at least historically, that's what would show to hurt the economy. And that's that's, so you say, 250, yeah, but that's historically 250. We have a job market that's a lot bigger than it has been in historically. So the number should be even higher than what you're seeing now. 236, is, you say, well, that's pretty good versus 250, which would hurt the economy, but the economy, the job market is so much bigger now than it was. So it's actually in better shape than what these numbers, I think, are showing.
So he uses the end of the world on one page,
Yep.
and heaven is with us on another.
Which
I don't
index
know.
do you believe? You got to look at them
Which
all
do you
combined.
believe?
I think the leading economic indicators is less and less important because
Okay.
it's been so wrong for 2 or 3 years. I
I
think
will-
at some point, somebody will do a paper on it and say,
Oh, everybody does pay.
yeah, there's something, this is what was wrong with this index, because it's been so wrong for so long. But people still talk about it, every month it comes out and it gathers headlines.
Like we talk about every month.
Correct.
Anyway, we got to get to the employment report because time is going by. Yeah?
Job creation has been down, but 53 months in a row of gains. But May was the first month in a while where it didn't gain enough jobs to grow the economy. Historically, you need 150,000, and you only had 139. But unemployment remained at 4.2%, where the way it's been basically for the past year.
Looking good or not?
Looking good for July. I think July is going to be good.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. If you see anybody with a jackhammer out there, just keep away from them.
Okay, definitely stay away from those
All right.
people.
And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Mike Carnevale with Richard Marco, Long Hill Report, Conversations with. Hope to see you next month.